Here on my channel, we compare life between the UK and the US, the differences, the history, and the travel. Today, we're looking at how media outlets in both countries frame events differently and how that framing shapes political opinion. To show you what this looks like, I'm breaking it into two examples, one from the UK and one from the US, so you can see the contrast for yourself. I'm going to play news recordings on the exact same events, but from different news outlets. But before we dive into the clips, let's quickly look at politics and ownership, because that context drives the coverage. So what we have currently in the US and UK is contrasting political parties. In the UK, we are currently leaning left with a Socialist Party. And in the US, we are currently leaning right with a Republican Party. So let's look at three credible media outlets for each country. In the UK, we have BBC and Sky, which are more left-leaning, in line with the current government. And then we have GB News, which is more right-leaning, in line with the Conservative Party. In the US, we have CNN and NBC, which are both left-leaning, in line with the Democrats. And then there's Fox, which is more right-leaning, in line with the current Republican government. So we are looking at two left-leaning media outlets and one right-leaning for each country. What's worth pointing out, though, is that Sky News for the UK, currently leaning left, although they state themselves as neutral and unbiased, is owned by Comcast Corporation, which also owns NBC. And the former owner of Sky, when it was more right-leaning, was owned by Rupert Murdoch, whose family now owns Fox. Now, we know that Rupert Murdoch and most of his immediate family are generally considered more right-leaning politically, whereas Brian Roberts, the chairman and CEO of Comcast, which owns both Sky UK and NBC, doesn't publicly declare a party allegiance. His campaign donations show support for both Democrats and Republicans, but when I play the video clips from Sky UK, you let me know below in the comments which way you think he leans. First, we will go to the UK with the London Unite the Kingdom rally. I made a video explaining this rally if you're unfamiliar with it, but this was a rally ultimately for free speech, dissatisfaction with immigration policies, and to defend British heritage and culture. There was also an opposing protest on the same day by Stand Up to Racism. So let's take a look at how Sky News reported on the incident, the non-biased media outlet.
The rival groups were kept apart until this moment. A small band of Tommy Robinson supporters appeared to have slipped through police lines to confront the tail end of the counter-demo.
Okay, so already Sky News is painting a picture. They are painting the picture that the Unite the Kingdom rally that was led by Tommy Robinson went and got to the opposing rally. So let's see where they're going to go with this.
Two police officers called urgently for backup. Suddenly, there was the sort of confrontation police had tried to avoid. It took a few minutes for reinforcements to arrive.
We're stopping that lot, getting in there, in front of them.
An officer was badly injured in scuffles. His colleagues quickly identified a suspect, but they had to wait to get him through the angry crowd. In Whitehall, police clashed with Unite the Kingdom protesters.
Okay, again, we're continuing to paint the picture. Police clashed with Unite the Kingdom protesters. No mention of the opposing protest. It is all Unite the Kingdom that is the issue here.
There were 1,000 officers to police the rival rallies, but it wasn't enough. They were overwhelmed by Robinson's followers.
So they were overwhelmed by Robinson's followers. This is all very important for when we play the next clip.
There were so many of them that they couldn't squeeze into their dedicated area near Parliament Square. So what they did was to loop around through the side streets and come up behind the rival march. And that's what led to that early confrontation between the two groups.
Okay, so we can clearly see here the picture Sky News has painted. They looped around to go to the opposing rally. And that's why there's all these issues. It was Unite the Kingdom's fault. That is the picture we are being painted here. So let's go to GB News and see what they have to say about the exact same incident.
Police needed to bring in resources from outside forces. They did that, and unfortunately, some of those, and we witnessed it ourselves, we spoke to people, you heard it on there not 20 minutes ago, who were to redirect it down streets straight into the counter-protest.
They were redirected. They didn't loop around, they were redirected.
Became a problem, and of course some aggression sparked off there by both sides, it must be said. And what else would you think?
Okay, so we're already seeing a different picture. Aggression from both sides.
What happened at that stage? So really the Metropolitan Police, I suppose, have to ask or answer a few questions here, Nana, as to how they policed the system.
So that's a completely different picture we're being painted now, but we'll keep following the day. So we'll go over to Sky News now, where they are going to interview somebody from the opposing rally, the Stand Up to Racism rally.
We need to be in solidarity with asylum seekers, and we need to show that we are united.
And you said this is about women's safety and girls. Obviously the other side say this is about that issue for them too. What's your response?
They're talking nonsense. That's my response. They're talking nonsense, and it's a dangerous lie to try and say that men of colour are a threat to women. It's a very dangerous lie, and I think we need to squash it.
Okay, so that is the interview for the opposing rally, the Stand Up to Racism rally. So we're getting what their opinion is. Let's go over to GB News and see who they're interviewing and what they have to say.
How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good. Why are you here?
We're just think enough is enough with the UK. We're fed up of illegal immigration. We're not racist. We're not against immigration. We're not against people living in this country and working. We're just fed up of everything that Starmer's doing.
That seems like an okay thing to say. They're not racist. They're not against immigration. Their issue is with illegal immigration.
Oh, Keir Starmer, what will it take to put things right with Keir Starmer?
I don't want to answer that, but we just need to get our identity back. Me, as a proud Englishman, proud of my country, and now I'm ashamed of it. I'm ashamed. You feel ashamed to fly your flag. You're not proud to be British anymore. We're losing our identity as a nation. We're pleasing everyone else, but not looking after the people that live here.
Well, there you go. That is the opinions here.
Okay, so they don't seem to be angry racists. They seem to be doing what the rally has been promoted to be doing, standing up for their country against illegal immigration and freedom of speech. Notice how he did not want to comment on that question asked. But let's go to, we've got a couple more clips for this event before we move on to the US event, but it all starts to come together. So we've got...
The numbers for United Kingdom clearly took everyone by surprise. It shocked me when I saw the numbers there. It probably even shocked the organisers.
Okay, so this is interesting. The numbers shocked them. I'm not even in the UK right now. I'm in the US, and I knew that organisers were expecting up to 1 million people to attend this rally. So for them to say they were shocked is a shock. So let's keep seeing where he goes with this.
I think the number did overwhelm the police and surprised them, and probably surprised some of the cordons they put in place in certain areas to try and keep these groups apart, and those cordons were breached on occasions.
As the two rallies ended, some protesters were reluctant to leave, and there was lingering tension. Martin.
So this last clip's very important. So they've not said who lingered behind, but it's already implied by the picture they've painted as United Kingdom being the bad ones. They've been causing the issues. The police have had issues with them. So when they say the two rallies ended and there was lingering and people didn't want to leave, the Unite the Kingdom rally ended after the opposing rally. So if anybody was lingering behind, actually, it would be the Stand Up to Racism rally, because theirs finished before Unite the Kingdom. But no one's actually said which rally. It's just implied. Okay, there's just a couple of videos left now for the UK example. We're going to go to GB News' conclusion of the event.
It's been a fantastic atmosphere all day. We've been here right from the start. There's families, people from all ethnicities, young, old, families, lots of smiles, and it's been a festival atmosphere. Genuinely, it's been one of the best events I've been to.
Did you expect the numbers?
I was hoping for big numbers, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've heard the police say 110,000. I would say it's at least triple that from where I've seen it. At least, possibly 500,000.
So that's interesting because depending what you read and what you watch, the numbers are completely different. Some places say 100,000, 150,000, 500,000, 1 million. There is no definite figure, but you can watch the video and see for yourself how many people you think are there.
But what does it mean for the people that attended this? What are they going away with?
This is an event to unify the British public. These people that you see in this crowd, they're not far right. These are just normal, regular Brits who want to send this government a message. And this government, this authoritarian left-wing government that's suppressing free speech, arresting people for Facebook posts, you know, these guys out here, they are just normal, regular Brits who have had enough. And it's not just the government. We've had enough of the migrant hotels. And I think a lot of this is actually stemmed from that. So I think we've had a continuation straight into this event, and of course, following the horrific events in America and the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it feels even more poignant.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's what's on the minds of people here today. But they might have had a good day in London. They might have been part of an experience, Nana, but what do they bring away with them? Will the government listen to the thousands of people, and I would say hundreds of thousands of people who attend?
We'll get to what the government has to say in a minute, but first let's go to Sky News on their conclusion of events.
Huge number of people who've turned out today behind that man, Tommy Robinson.
None of his previous rallies had drawn a crowd this big. And what's newer too is the overt displays of Christian nationalism. When the crowd assembled, they were led in a chant of Christ as King, and then the Lord's Prayer.
Hallowed be thy name.
As the heavens opened. 4 giant screens were set up along Whitehall. Organisers said the area was completely full. When Robinson took the stage, it was more like a football match or a festival than a political rally.
So, regardless of what you stand for, what party you are with politically, it is extremely easy to see here what the media outlets are doing. Sky News, the self-described neutral outlet, compared the gathering to a football match. GB News, meanwhile, described a fantastic atmosphere and focused on ordinary Britons who've had enough. BBC headlines highlighted police injuries and quoted politicians warning against using the flag as a symbol of fear and division. Then came the surprise. Billionaire Elon Musk, who addressed the crowds via video link, insisted that there has to be a change of government in Britain and there should be a dissolution of Parliament and a new vote held. You can imagine how well that went down. The BBC led with quoting the Home Secretary's warning, "No one gets to mess with British democracy." So already you can see how each outlet sets a tone, one that nudges viewers toward or away from a particular party. And the takeaway from this is to definitely dig deeper. Don't just listen to what you are watching and believe it. And the same thing is happening in the US. The fatal stabbing of Irina Zaruska in North Carolina, I find this really hard to accept because this young girl, fled Ukraine for a better life. She had just finished work and was heading home when she was fatally stabbed to death. Some outlets, especially left-leaning ones, focused on the suspect's mental health, using terms like trouble young man. GoFundMe pages even appeared to fund his legal defense, citing injustice and racism, though they were later removed. Here's what CNN had to say about it, which ultimately does spark reactions like this.
We don't know why that man did what he did. We don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people.
Right-leaning outlets like Fox News emphasized the suspect's criminal record, calling him a cold-blooded murderer and linking the tragedy to lenient democratic policies and a soft on-crime justice system. Here's a clip from Fox News.
He's a repeat offender. He had already committed larceny with a deadly weapon. And because our criminal justice system keeps wanting to reimagine things, when people are violent offenders and they have weapons, they don't deserve to be back on the street. I don't care if he's homeless or not. If people have mental health issues, get them the services they need. But we shouldn't have to tolerate them in society while you guys try to figure out a new way of doing the criminal justice system. We're seeing this in every major city. And it's not just like, okay, it's a liberal city and they just stay there. They spread out all across the country.
But Elon Musk is somebody who said, why are people not talking about this crime? And the mayor comes out and says, I'm so glad you guys are not talking about the crime. We don't want to give this a lot of publicity. No, you need a lot of publicity. This is a victim of a crime, brutally killed after surviving the war in Ukraine, came here for some solace just to get a day job and just build her life at 23 and get.
The difference is stark. Is this a mental health crisis or a criminal justice failure? That framing shapes whether people demand better healthcare, tough sentencing, do unfathomable things themselves out of protest, or even switch political sides. Now, these aren't just editorial quirks, they influence votes. In the UK, some Labour voters are shifting either further left to the Greens and Liberal Democrats, or further right to Reform UK. Then, in the US, 6 states that voted for Democrat Joe Biden in 2020 swung to Republican Donald Trump in 2024. These states were Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And these are just 2 snapshots. The same kind of selective framing plays out every day on immigration, crime, protests, even celebrity scandals. Whether it's a border crossing, a public rally, or a tragic crime, the story you hear often depends less on the facts and more on which outlet you watch. Some would argue that the media isn't just reporting events, it's intensifying the divide. Significantly more Democrats are suggested to be leaving for the Republican Party since the tragic loss of Charlie Kirk, which sent shockwaves through the US and sparked global reactions of pain and disbelief. The New York Post even reports that the rate of Republican registrations in Florida tripled in the days immediately following the tragic death of Charlie Kirk. So, after seeing these clips, what do you think? Both countries show the same pattern, different outlets, same events, completely different realities. Drop your thoughts below. Do you think media framing is changing the way people vote and really intensifying people's opinions?